Hello all, welcome to Insights IS Think Before You initiative. So today is day 4 and today again we are taking up polity and governance themes. Myself Nikhil Sir, I am the Insights PSR, polity and IR faculty. So quickly let's get into the questions. Today we are dealing with certain CDS 2023 and CPF questions in that regard. So let us take this question. This question is from CDS 2023. So they have asked who among the following is given the discretionary powers under the 5th schedule of the constitution to set up a tribal advisory council in a state which has scheduled tribes but is not a scheduled area. So in those states which do not, there are 10 states which comes under scheduled areas, but so one more information what you can know here is that it is possible to create a tribal advisory council even in a state which is not in an area which is not having scheduled area. They have scheduled tribe. So if you take in 3 states like that, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Uttarakhand, so though they do not come under scheduled area, but still tribal advisory council has been recently constituted here. So in that regard, who has the power to constitute? The answer is under Article 244 Clause 1, it is the President of India. So the answer is B. So friends, if you see the tribal region 5th schedule, 6th schedule is a common theme that has been asked in UPSC exams. So remember, 5th schedule deals with the scheduled areas, the 6th schedule deals with the tribal areas. In 6th schedule, you have 4 states, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Assam and Tripura in that regard. Under 5th schedule, you have 10 states. But please remember the other key point what you can understand from this question, because many times questions can be also informative, that even in a non-scheduled area in that regard, or a state which has scheduled tribe but not scheduled area, there also it is possible to create tribal advisory council. So remember West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Uttarakhand. So this has been in news in recently also. Now moving forward to the next question. Which of the one of the following statement they're asked is not true with regards to tribal welfare? So option A says that the comprehensive tribal development program aims at land development activities, improvement of roof business, infrastructure development and so on. So if identify which is not. So here only in the keyword only they've given tribal. Of course it will be related to tribal welfare. Then as per Scheduled Tribes and other Traditional Forest Dwellers Act, the villages in forest are provided with community rights. This also we can equate with what? Tribal community. So this can't be also the answer. And here you have special area development program which aims at distribution of forest area products produces to tribal equitably in that regard. And you have fourth option, the special central assistant to tribal subplants provide dairy cows to tribal cows living below poverty line. So if you look at the special area development program in that regard, this is not solely connected with the idea of tribal welfare, it is connected with the idea of development of the backward regions in that regard. So for example, you have hilly area development programs, Western Ghats development program, drought prone area development program. So these are all connected to rural backward areas. So the answer for this question is C. So C is the answer, which is not true regarding tribal welfare, because here the idea is not for equal distribution of forest produce to tribals. It is mainly connected with the idea of what? Rural development or backward area development. Now let's move on to the next question. Which one of the following is not a feature? Again, the question is not a feature of Indian federalism. So the courts can interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of the government. So you do have that the courts have the authority to check the constitutional amendments to protect the federal features of the Indian constitution. The sources of revenue of the union government and state government are specified. Yes, this is also a federal feature. The powers of the union and states are specified. Yes, that is correct. In the constitution, we have Schedule 7 in that regard. Indian federalism is based on the principle of separation of powers. Please understand, the Indian federalism is not based on the idea of separation of powers. It is based on the idea of division of powers. So friends, going by this, your answer will be D in that regard. So a basic concepts of federalism, please remember, in India, there are different models of federalism. We have KC Ware, who calls India as quasi-federal. We have Ivor Jennings, who says that it's a federation with more of unitary features. You have Granville Austin, who calls it as cooperative federalism. And you have Alexandrovic, who says that Indian federalism is sui generis. Okay, then please also remember what are the unitary features and the federal features. You have integrated judiciary, which is a unitary feature. You have independent judiciary, which is a federal features. All India services is a unitary features. Bicameralism is a federal feature. So these are basic things you have to remember regarding the idea of federalism. And one more thing is that Indian model of federalism is based on the model of disintegration. We have borrowed it from Canadian model. It is not based on the American model of integration, which is an agreement signed between different states. So Indian model is based on the Canadian model, the model of disintegration. That is why the word federation has been not used under Article 1. It calls India as a union of states. And please remember, there is two words: territory of India, union of states. When we say union of states, we are only considering the state governments. When we use the word territory of India, it's a broader term. It is including state governments, union territories, as well as territories that has been acquired. So these are certain basic things that you have to remember. So the answer for this question is D. Now let's move on to the next question. Which of the following is or are the sources of law in India? So if you can logically connect with according to the definition of the law, if you take Article 13, which is there, which defines state, and Article 14, which is the equality before the law. So going according to Article 14, what all we can bring under the definition of law? The Constitution of India, yes, it is a source. We have Article 14. Statutes, the law passed by the Parliament. Customary laws. You can see in India, even customary laws are thing. For example, you have the Mohammedan law, etc., which is the law followed by the Muslims in that regard. And you have case laws. So, for example, many laws are framed by judiciary itself. So, what judgment is given by the judiciary? A case laws is also a source of law. For example, you can say that the Supreme Court, in case of Shabano judgment, had given a verdict saying that alimony should be provided, or in Vishaka guidelines they have given certain guidelines in that regard. So case law can be also a source of law. So the answer for this question will be 1, 2, 3, 4. A pretty easy question in that regard. Now moving on to the last question for the day. Which among the following is or the functions of the Cabinet Secretariat? So one, to ensure interministerial coordination. Second one, management of major crisis situations in the country. So logically, if you look at the Cabinet Secretariat, it is headed by Cabinet Secretary. Currently, Rajiv Gauba is the Cabinet Secretary. So he's the senior most IAS officer in the country. So what we say Cabinet Secretary is the eyes and ears of the Cabinet. So obviously one of the function of them is to help in the interministerial coordination, means coordination between different ministries. So obviously when they are coordinating between different ministries, when there is crisis situation in the country, the Cabinet Secretariat will play a key role in helping the Cabinet, which is the highest decision making body in the country, to handle these situations. So in this, both statements are correct. So Cabinet Secretariat is also called as the eyes and ears of the Cabinet. It is usually the senior most IAS officer who is the Cabinet Secretary. It brings interministerial coordination. It will set up the minutes of the meeting in that regard. It will fix the agenda of the day. So they help in the functioning of the Cabinet. And please remember, don't get confused here with parliamentary secretaries. Parliamentary secretaries comes under the Council of Ministers in that regard. And Cabinet, there is one more question that previously asked, who is the head of the Civil Service Board? Please remember, the Chief Secretary of a state is the head of the Civil Service Board that has been constituted. So here they are asking about Cabinet Secretariat. So both these statements are correct. So friends, with this we have come to the end of today's session in that regard. And tomorrow I'll be taking up questions with regarding to modern history. That will be the theme what we'll be picking up. And again, for the tip of the day with respect to the prelims is that please don't neglect CSAT. And the only way you can improve on CSAT is that you have to solve full length papers within a given time limit. That is one way you can improve your accuracy, or you can improve handling pressure, because CSAT is not only about solving the problems, but you have to solve the problems or solve the passages that has been given within a given time. And for that you have to practice within a given time limit, and you also have to try to practice in an exam atmosphere, because any day added pressure will play a key role. So you need to learn to tackle pressure also. That is one thing which many students ignore. So please look into it. Again, we'll meet tomorrow with modern history questions. Till then, take care. Thank you. Bye.